Footy Talk Monday edition. Great to be in the chair for Emma Lawrence, who can't make it today. Adam Peacock here. Gorden Tallis is there. Gordy, how are you, mate? Finals time.
No. Listen, don't bag Emma, right? She can enjoy a Mad Monday with the best of them, right? Her team lost. She is out there on a Mad Monday with the rest of them. Some of us just have to work.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And when the Broncos get beaten, I'll go have a Mad Monday with those guys. You won't get me for days either.
Well, you might be a month away, so we'll see. You're not on the Mad Monday with the Gold Coast boys?
Listen. I don't hang around losers, Adam. I'm a Bronco these days.
What does Wayne do for Mad Monday?
Actually, I'll tell you what, one grand final, right, we had this soapbox and we'd won and we were all sitting around and it was like we'd sort of won and then we played day grand final. So we were on the plane at about 7 o'clock, so you'd land. So we're getting back at a healthy time, 9:30. So the night's still young and we'd go back to the club and the fans and we'd sit in the Leagues Club till I don't know what time until they'd ask us to leave sort of thing. And we'd go to City Rowers and they would accommodate us and then we'd, this is back then. This was responsible drinking too. Then they'd give us like a couple of bottles of Kahlua and we'd stop and get some milk because it's a Kahlua and milk time. We'd sit around and
perfect
have a
on
drink
a full
and all
belly of
fall
piss.
asleep. And then
Kahlua
Wayne
and
would
milk.
come and then we had to get up on this box and just say what the team meant to us or something through the week. And Wayne Bennett walks over to the esky, grabs out a 4X Gold, takes the lid off and tries to scull it. A bloke that's never had a drink in his life.
And what happened?
Oh, it just erupted. We just started throwing all our drinks on him. So when he's driving home at 2 o'clock that afternoon, if he gets picked up, they would have thought he'd been on a 3-day bender. Oh, Benny, geez, I wish that someone would have picked him up because he would have smelt like anything. But, it's just a thing. So Wayne Bennett, he loves hanging around the guys. He loves being there. But he's smart, right? He's a cagey old bugger. He always leaves before it gets a bit too messy.
Fair enough. And then he hears about the stories later if he needs to hear about it.
And then he's back there early in the morning and he sits there until it gets dark again. So he's like, so Wayne's a daytime drinker. Like and he's like a lunch man. He's not a nightclub rave type of coach.
Couldn't imagine it. Gordy, let's rip into finals week 1 matchups, shall we? And we'll go through a few things and we'll have a look at the teams that aren't there a bit later on and also another touch on the Andrew Davey story that Jimmy Graham weighed into yesterday when you were on with him on Triple M. But, mate, Friday night we've got Broncos Storm. Saturday we've got Panthers Warriors followed by Sharkies Roosters. And then Sunday, Newcastle will be jumping. I know you'll be there for the Knights and Raiders. But first of all, mate, the Bronx. Did they leave much out there? A golf term? Did they leave much on the golf course in terms of not taking that minor premiership?
Nope. They left. They would have been in the same situation, right?
Yep.
They finish in the top 4. They get a home final, and they're fresh. So I got asked last week, like I think I was on 360 or one of those shows, and for the life of me, if you would have asked how many minor premierships I'd won,
no idea.
I couldn't have told you.
Yeah.
Couldn't have. And not that I'm not, just
disrespecting it.
Disrespecting what it means to some clubs and some players. But for me, I don't know how many I won. And Brisbane, it's not about the minor premiership. I think they've had a successful year, but they're in a great place. They probably had to freshen up. They've played a lot of footy. They've done a lot of hard work, and they're going to get judged on grand final if they play a grand final. And that's what we've always been judged on in Brisbane, winning grand finals.
Well, what they've got to do is overcome this hex that they got with Melbourne Storm. That's going to be the narrative through the week. They're going to replay all the great wins of Storm.
It was a different Melbourne Storm side, right? It was probably Cameron Smith, Cooper Cronk, Billy Slater, probably even Greg Inglis might have played in the last one, right? That's how long this like hoodoo goes. But let me tell you something. This is a totally different Brisbane side, and it's a totally different Melbourne Storm side. The guys that are playing for Melbourne Storm cannot live on what happened in that jersey before them.
Yep.
Right? And Brisbane can't carry what happened in the jersey before them as well. So unless they read all the papers this weekend and go, but we can't beat them, it's been 13 years or 13 games at Suncorp, which is 13 years at Suncorp Stadium, we haven't won. I reckon it's a totally different ball game. It's a different competition. It's a different Brisbane team. Simple as that.
Does last week count at all?
Nope.
Why?
Not with 11 out. Mate, you just put it in a golfing term. It's like playing a game of golf without 6 of your clubs. Are you going to play better this week?
Well, I can do. given how I play with the 4-14 sometimes.
So like then, and I think the way Reece Walsh, I think Carrigan, I think Payne has, I think Adam Reynolds coming back. I think that Brisbane, this side, won't. Mate, there's probably only Corey Oates, and there we go. Corey Oates, I think he's going to get left out. He's a guy that's probably played in 8 of those years, 10 of those years. Leave him out, then there's no scars. There's no mental scars.
With the Fanua Blake Fisher Harris storyline, give us a Gordy story time about you. When you're at your absolute peak, had a finals opponent who had one forward that you went, I've got to get on top of this guy because he's going to try and do the same to me, and I'm going to go at him.
Well, I think Aiden's just got us just... Do you know what it was for me? It was Kevy Waddles and Alfie Langer going, are you going to have a go today? I need you today. And then you look, right, when they never ask you that.
Yeah.
Right? Or they would walk past us and go, geez, I wish I played behind the other forward pack. How do you reckon that went with Webke, Thorne, myself and Petro?
Who was the name that they brought up?
Well, they just say the pack. Oh, gee whiz, how good would it be to play behind that pack? So if I'm Sean Johnson, I'm walking past these forwards and go, fuck, do you wish our forwards could hold up this week? I'm not sure they're brave enough to really get into this Penrith side.
You really going to walk past, if you're Sean Johnson, Adam Fanua Blake, and question his bravery?
Well, like Alf did.
Yeah.
In his own certain way.
Did you want to throw him through the wall?
They just say it loud enough, and the coach will walk past and just go, well, mate, I don't know, mate, if our forward pack doesn't get dominated like we think that they will, then it's just, well, that's what happens, right?
I'm just marvelling at the sheer audacity of A. Langer walking past you, saying something like that, knowing that he's protected as well, probably.
And then Thorny and Webby, they sort of lost it, right? And then Thorny come up, and then the next time he goes, not on our shift, right?
Yeah.
So it worked. It worked. I knew that, okay, they're joking. Well, I'm thinking that they're joking.
Yeah.
Right. I think they're joking, but it hurts you, right? With every joke, there's a bit of truth in it.
Back to this one, Penrith and Warriors. How do you reckon Penrith went without Luai?
Oh, they were outstanding.
Looked okay.
But the Cowboys, they were disappointing, right? With their season on the line. But you go, Penrith, don't lose 2 in a row very often. They got humiliated by Parramatta. There's a minor premiership up for grabs. Do they play Melbourne Storm or do they play the Warriors? They had a bit more of a go. But I was more disappointed in the Cowboys' performance than going, well, how good were Penrith? The Penrith were absolutely outstanding, but they were allowed to be outstanding. So do the Warriors give them that much latitude? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Like how you stop good sides and how you stop anybody's, you got to limit their time and space.
Yeah.
And how much energy that takes out of you, stopping Yo, stopping Fisher Harris, stopping Leota, right? And then that's going to limit Cleary's time and space. He doesn't have his wingman there in Luai. Crichton's been absolutely outstanding, but if they're doing that off their try line, they don't tend to throw the ball around as much as if they're making easy meters. So I know it's simple, but that's the game plan. The bigger the occasion, stop their go forward, make them kick long. Yeah. We bring the ball back, and then that's it, and just keep on winning that battle. And it's a yardage battle.
Yeah, off the kicks. We saw it in the first 20 minutes of the grand final last year.
And Sean Johnson kicks as good as anybody, right? He's got a great long kicking game. He's got a great short kicking game. They got a great power game. Like their back rows have been outstanding, Tohu and Aiden. So, you know what? It's intriguing. Of course you think Penrith are going to win, right? Of course, because of where they are. But I'm excited to see where the Warriors are at.
With the venues, and you could say this about Penrith, like they're going to pack, obviously, Penrith Stadium out 20, and a lot of
Just
the talk...
let me be Peter V'landys for one day, Adam.
Where would you have it?
Let me be Peter V'landys.
So
because
Sharks,
it's got to be
Roosters.
played. We cannot lock fans out. Right? So take it to Combank, right? Or
Sharkies,
take it
Roosters.
to Allianz,
Yep.
right? And go, this is it. So what do they hold? 45,000, 50,000? But Penrith, you sell every ticket, right? You got 48 hours. You got Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. But from Wednesday, 8 o'clock onwards, the other team can come and buy tickets. Same with Cronulla. Same with the smaller grounds, right? If it doesn't hold over 30, because could you imagine if Penrith had a 50,000 seat stadium out there? So they're locking out their own fans.
Yeah,
they're not locking out the Warrior fans. They're locking out their own fans.
Well, there's a stack of Warriors fans in Sydney as well. That's why I brought up this game, because everyone's talking, Gordy, about the Cronulla Roosters game about being moved from Shark Park and say that's a joke. But I identify the other one as well as locking a few fans out. So you think that the home ground advantage, which is massive.
Yeah. Well, like the home ground advantage is your fans, right? I've been to the Gabba when England have played Australia. It sounds like England are playing at home.
Yeah.
It's the fans, right? It's the Barmy Army. So that's what you want, right? You want the motivation. So you want the crowd. You want that noise on your side. You want the 50-50s to go your way. That's what you get, right? Getting dressed in a dressing room. A dressing room's a dressing room. A field's a field. They're all equal these days. It's not like back in the day when the Johns brothers used to hose out Marathon Stadium and and they'd water it if Brisbane had come into play because they were fast. So they'd leave the sprinklers on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So it was a muddy, like it's been beautiful weather and it's all muddy. Those days are gone, right? So that home ground advantage is gone. I think playing in front of 50,000 of your own fans, 40,000 of your own fans, or 18, I know which one I'd want.
So, Gordy, 3 of last year's 4 preliminary finalists have missed the 8. Souths, North Queensland, Parramatta. Now, Souths have got all the headlines. Parramatta have had their excuses, but still disappointing. And North Queensland, they've had the rollercoaster year, getting beaten by 60 at West Tigers, coming back, getting on that run, and then getting belted on the weekend. What stands out for you in that pack that can really look at themselves and go, geez, we stuffed that up?
Well, I think all 3 have pretty good excuses, but some of them are self-inflicted. Obviously, Parramatta at the beginning of the year with Cartwright sitting out, and then they've had injuries, and you saw Madison and Campbell Gillard dropped his knee, so they've had a few suspensions. And you look at Dylan Brown, missing some weeks. So then that's all self-inflicted. And then towards the end, obviously Moses got injured. So I think Parramatta were disappointed, but I think that their window is closing. I think they need some fresh. I don't think that they recruited for the players that they've lost.
Yep.
I don't think they recruited like for like. South Sydney, well, everything's spoken about. I think that's just got to go up on the hoist, and they got to, undo every nut and bolt and put it all back together.
Does Jack White fix their issues?
He will help. I'm not saying he's going to fix them, but he will help fix it. But I think it's hard work. I think those guys stop relying on natural ability, because it only takes you so far. You know what I mean? It only takes you, like, it gets you to first grade, but to get you to win first grade games, it's bloody hard work. So South Sydney I think it's the easiest fix, because it's just having a really tough off season and making them buy in. And the harder they work for something, the less likely they're going to give it up.
Yep.
And the Cowboys, I think they look slow the other night. Like, they look like that they create, but they don't have. And then losing someone like Tabuai Fidow, not having Val Holmes, but Gilbert in the middle of the ruck, the one that went to Redcliffe. They were flying when he got injured at Redcliffe. There's no doubt that they lost a bit of sting. Like, how he holds his side accountable, I think, he's unbelievable. So, and the Cowboys need to get a Gilbert. I think Cotter's trying to do it, but he's Robinson Crusoe.
With these teams missing, for me, it shows how finely balanced. Okay, Penrith have got sustained success, and they've earned that sustained success by developing so well from their own nursery. But it just shows how quickly you can be tipped off your axis in this competition with a couple of things that go wrong, and bang, it's a disaster.
Okay, so those guys lost their players because the Dolphins come in, right?
Yep.
So then there's an extra 30-odd players or an extra 40-odd players that have been pulled. So that's 2 or 3 from every club. And then the West Tigers are been trying to recruit, and the Dragons. And so it just shows that competition and the salary cap has weakened them a bit. So it's not all their fault, because losing Gilbert and Redcliffe, they were a little bit desperate there at stages. So they've lost their players. Reid Marnie, Papali'i. So and South Sydney, obviously, they keep on talking about Adam Reynolds, but I understand their reason why, because they backed this young kid, and South have just had one of those the back end of the year that only deep down, when they look in front of a mirror, and if they're all really honest, they know what went wrong.
Yeah, fair enough. What one bounces back out of those 3 the quickest? You reckon Souths? That's the easiest fix in your eyes?
That is the easiest fix. They got the ability.
Yeah.
They've got the ability. They have a really tough off season. They all buy in. They all sing Kumbaya together. I think they can turn it around the quickest.